So in the grand performative platform of mainstream political talking points, I have quite thoroughly talked about how the right seems to be embracing anti-vax rhetoric and pushing it in a very specific direction. Now, this largely seems to be something that's done in broad terms, or if it is specifically targeted, it's usually towards things like mandates, something that they can point to, like specifically the Biden administration, and say like that is bad, we are good. That over there is bad, we are good. But it's attacking like a system, okay? It's attacking a system, or it's attacking their political opponents. Tucker Carlson has chosen to attack somebody who's not a politician and who is, in fact, a remarkably great human being. And I'm absolutely fascinated by this. So we're going to see Tucker just not pulling any punches.
You might have noticed that a lot of people in your world don't trust doctors these days. That's not a good sign. Probably
Yeah, I wonder why they do that, Tucker. I wonder why. Tucker, why people might be, worried about talking to their doctors as if there's like somebody dripping fucking poison in their ear. Like, what do doctors even know? If the science, Tucker.
half people you know are exploring alternative medical cures right now. Why is that happening? Well, there are a lot of reasons.
Yeah, you and other people lowering the collective IQ of our species.
But Dr. Peter Hotez is definitely one of those reasons. Hotez is a pediatrician who spent his life studying tropical parasites. He wouldn't seem to be the obvious go-to guest for cable news bookers looking for someone to speak knowledgeably about COVID.
Okay. Peter Hotez has done a lot more than just that. Peter Hotez has been at the forefront of fighting anti-vax rhetoric and working with people directly to develop vaccines. So you could just say it doesn't seem like he'd be a good guest if you just, lie about the guy and tropical parasites. Dude, come the fuck on. Holy shit.
But Hotez is a crazed publicity addict. He will do any public appearance anywhere at any time. He never stops. Unfortunately for all of us, when Peter Hotez speaks, he discredits American medicine. He is a misinformation machine, constantly spewing insanity.
And this is what's so fucking fantastic about this. Man who is on television every fucking day, running his mouth and saying incorrect propagandist bullshit, complains about a very, very kind, patient dude with the actual credentials to speak on what he's speaking on, desperately trying to talk to as many people as possible to fight misinformation. Why does Tucker dislike that? Because Tucker is the disinformation. That's why. Oh my God.
Coolly compare Hotez's views on COVID to, say, Alex Jones's views on COVID and ask yourself, who's saner? It's not even close. Very few things Peter Hotez says has any relationship to reality.
Are you going to give us an example? Like the idea that just saying here's this man that most of you have probably never heard of, and he is crazier than Alex Jones. Can you demonstrate that, please? I'm really, really fascinated with this. I also what's really interesting too. There's been a lot of clips going around of Joe Rogan talking to a guest and saying very pro-vaccine stuff. This is a few years back before the pandemic when Joe Rogan was explicitly against anti-vaxxers and was talking about how beneficial and amazing these vaccines can be. You know who he was talking to? Peter Hotez. Peter Hotez, when things started getting kind of crazy back in, I want to say it was 2020, maybe early 2021, pleaded with Joe that, you need to have people on that know what they're talking about with vaccines. Please bring me on. You're my friend. We've spoken before. Please. Joe never invited him back on. Joe repeatedly invited anti-vaxxers. It's really sad. It's really unfortunate because Peter Hotez is a smart guy. I hate that my space bar isn't just like replaying this. I have to click it now.
reality. Here he is explaining back in July that there is no conceivable way that Joe Biden will ever announce a vax mandate.
This is months and months of anti-science, anti-vaccine aggression coming from the far-right elements of the Republican Party. And you saw it play out at the CPAC conference where they said this is nothing more than an effort for power and control, and they're going to use, first they're going to force vaccines on us, then they're going to take away our Bibles and our guns, and all of that.
He's absolutely right. Like, that's the kind of persistent talking point that they constantly are trying to push. Yeah. What's the fucking problem here?
Information, meaning deliberate misinformation, came out of CPAC, the conservative news outlets.
Now, this guy is apparently a prominent figure at a big Texas hospital, I think Baylor Hospital. Why in the world would they let him do an MSNBC hit like that?
Why? What hit is that? What hit? That's not a hit piece. That's a statement on what he perceives as the directed and intentional goals of a movement of people, anti-vaxxers. He didn't say anybody's name. He didn't say Tucker Carlson. He just said anti-vaxxers. Why would Tucker be offended by that unless he himself was a member of that group? Or rather, more accurately, Tucker wants you, the viewer, to feel like Peter is attacking you, that Dr. Hotez is attacking you. Not the propaganda machine, not the explicitly stated goals of them to cast doubt on the Biden administration and to stoke the fears and paranoia. Tucker wants you to personalize it. That's the whole point. That's the whole fucking point.
If anybody is discrediting vaccines, making people afraid of them, he's such an obvious lunatic, and politicizing medicine, it's Peter Hotez. And by the way, he's totally ignorant.
It's not me, it's him, actually. It's not me, it's him, Tucker says, claiming that... okay, and the whole point of that clip was that he was saying that Peter Hotez was saying that there weren't going to be any vaccine mandates, and that's ridiculous. Well, there's still no vaccine mandates, bro. Nobody's getting force vaccinated in this goddamn country. It hasn't happened yet. I'm sorry.
A couple of months after he said that, Joe Biden announced, in fact, vaccines would be mandatory. Now, to be clear, it's not just Peter Hotez.
Have they been yet? Have they been? Has it happened yet? Has it happened? And is that actually what Joe Biden said? Or is it a little bit? Is there nuance to that? Nuance is a very pesky monkey wrench thrown into the constant droning line that Tucker likes to regurgitate.
His predictions that are wrong. He's also a charlatan. Here he is warning that schools have no reason to lift their mask mandates. Now, this came weeks after the CDC, following Fauci's lead, admitted that cloth masks don't actually work. Watch.
If you start lifting mask mandates now, you're basically condemning all the kids to get infected with Omicron.
So that's also a very, very casual brush off of, masks just don't work. No, nobody said that. That has not been the actual line. No. There's question about how much the effectiveness is, sure. Especially if you're not, like, making it pretty universal, sure. It's like, what's so fucking weird about the mask thing, too, is I equate it to, like, washing your fucking hands, right? Washing your hands. Is a cloth mask like a medical device that's going to be very, very good at, like, doing this and doing that? It's going to, like, give you a really great protection. First of all, it doesn't protect you, it protects other people from you by diffusing your exhalation, your sneezes, your coughs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it does work in that regard, yes. But is it this awesome, awesome device? No. It never was meant to be. And nobody ever said it fucking was. They said it helps. It helps. But that's the constant line that you hear from the right-wing side as they narrow the focus down to, okay, we're just talking about masks. They don't really help that much. Or they like to say it doesn't help at all, which isn't true. And then they ignore that. They don't talk about masks, and they talk about social distancing. but also like, and like they don't talk about this as a larger thing to help. What is something that you can do to help not spread a bunch of fucking germs? Wash your fucking hands. Do you wash your hands after you take a shit? I hope so. I equate people who won't wear a mask with people who wipe with their hands and then won't wash their hands because freedom. Freedom! Ah! Fuck you. Shit. Anyway, sorry, that's my rant.
And having to live with those consequences, which mean that some kids will have to be hospitalized or possibly worse. So it makes no sense to lift mask mandates at this point.
Yeah, so we were right. It's Baylor. If you look at his shirt, it says Baylor right on there. Now, why are the morons at Baylor letting their employee go on TV and say
those morons at that highly regarded, research hospital? Why would those morons co-sign with this incredibly accomplished scientist and doctor going and spreading a message of pro-public health? Why would they do that? I don't understand. What the fuck?
stuff like that? What a quick way to discredit your hospital, and again, all of American medicine. Peter Hotez is arguing on TV that anyone who disagrees with him, even when he lies, which is often, anyone who believes in the primacy of scientific data over the opinions of some nutcase from Baylor is spreading misinformation. And not only that, he believes that's a crime.
Sometimes I wish it was a crime, but we can't illegalize people being assholes and pricks, unfortunately. But yeah, dude, like this whole thing is so fucking projection. It's so projection. Tucker is like he's at the forefront of propaganda and misinformation. Like, it's fucking insane. It's absolutely insane. I legitimately think that Tucker Carlson probably has more blood on his hands from this fucking pandemic than most people. And it was all done on purpose. And all done for politics. Not for real belief. Not because they actually believe the things that they say. Politics. Pure politics. No other fucking reason. And that's why it makes it worse. It's not that he's wrong. He knows he's wrong. I mean, if anybody thinks that this motherfucker isn't vaccinated right now, dude, no, he's vaccinated. I guarantee you, he's vaccinated, he's fully boosted up. I mean, they have a policy at Fox News that they have to be vaccinated. There's a vax mandate at Fox News. Joe Biden hasn't actually made an actual vax mandate yet, but there's a vax mandate at Fox News, so he's vaccinated. So he knows the truth. And he lies for politics. What a shitty reason to condemn people to gasping for breath and dying. What the fuck?
He wants the federal government to deal with those people. Watch this.
And I've been saying, for the last year and a half, that the Biden administration has to realize that anti-science is a killer. Disinformation. Yeah. It's not even just disinformation. This is an anti-science empire right now, and we need Homeland Security. We need the Justice Department. We've really got to figure this out. And Health and Human Services will not be able to figure this out on their own.
Hey.
What? So, was there a threat in there? Was there a threat? Did anybody chat? Did anybody hear an actual threat that he was calling on the government to imprison people for misinformation? Don't get me wrong. Why would he necessarily want Homeland Security? Well, maybe because Homeland Security does deal with threats to the population, that it needs to be addressed more than just Health and Human Services. There needs to be some kind of a movement, a politically government-funded movement to try and really establish better public health. I'd say maybe we should get Medicare for all at the same time we would do that. That would be great. That would help. I think that'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be nice. Why would Homeland Security help for medical stuff? I mean, there could be investigations into the reasons why all this shit is happening, why there is such well-funded propaganda being pushed towards anti-vaccine sentiment. That might be a good idea. But as far as enforcement, no, I couldn't get behind that. I wouldn't co-sign that. And I don't think that's what Peter Hotez is saying either.
Memo to Baylor, a lot of people give you money because they think you're a legitimate organization. This guy is discrediting you. and our medical system. He's arguing in
He's trying to get him fired from Baylor. Is this cancel culture, Tucker? Is this cancel culture? Rules for thee, but not for me. What the fuck?
his little Baylor scrubs. The people who don't agree with him belong in jail. The Justice Department needs to go after people who disagree with Peter Hotez. Sorry, Peter Hotez, we have freedom of speech in this country, and no one should be more grateful for that.
So we need to make sure that this threat that has not happened yet, and these vaccine mandates that haven't happened yet, are being fought against, and I'm gonna argue against this thing that just does not fucking exist. Now, I think I have a good idea of why this all happened. It's probably because Peter Hotez and Opal Lee are both nominated recently for a Nobel Peace Prize. A lot of this is coming from their efforts to, and this is one of the reasons why I love Peter Hotez so much. What these two have been working on specifically is making a COVID vaccine that is extremely low cost, that can actually be given out, like low cost, but not like these people are going to have to pay for it. Low cost for it to be produced and distributed so that people who are in developing areas of the world can get vaccinated so that this whole, pandemic can stop. Because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but this is probably something that you should be quite well informed. We can have this idea that if we get the COVID numbers down in this country, that then the pandemic's going to end. No, it's a global pandemic, which means until we can find a way to address this on a global scale, it's just going to keep happening. More mutations, more strains, more outbreaks, more pandemic. It's just going to happen over and over and over and over again. Peter Hotez knows that. Quite a few other people know that. That's why they're trying to make a low-cost vaccine that governments all around the world can collectively put into to make sure we all beat this fucking thing. Now, here's the problem. The problem is that at the state of affairs right now with COVID, is it going to become endemic? Is this something that we're going to end up having to live with as like a seasonal infection? Maybe. But the things that were absolutely needed to do and needed to happen have been curtailed so effectively by this perpetual propaganda mill death cult that who knows what it's going to take to actually dig our way out of this, or if we can. And I don't have any easy answers for you, but I do know exactly who I can point to blame for why this has been such a shit show. It's this fucking asshole. People like him. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't understand why you'd pick on Peter Hotez of all people. Probably because Peter Hotez is like actually a legitimate human being, and Tucker Carlson is offended by anybody with a soul. It's probably it.